Welcome all of you class. I am Durgesh Kumar Pandey. Class, today I am going to explain a chapter of class 12 and the name of this chapter is Challenges of a Nation Building Class. Class, you know, India was got independent on 15 August 1947 from the British colonial rule. And class, this independence comes with the partition. With the British India was going divided into Pakistan and India. Class, when India was got the independent, India was faced with three challenges: to shape a nation, to establish a democracy, and to ensure the development of all society, especially the disadvantaged groups and economic development. These are the some challenges for of our country class. So in this chapter we focus only on the first challenges of nation building class. So this is your today's topic कि how we face these challenges of nation building class. India is the country of Rajas and Nawabs, and during the British colonial period there are two types of the territory. Some is known as the provinces, which are direct control of Britishers, and some were princely state. They are controlled by the Rajas and Nawabs class. So class, when India was got the independent and Britishers were going to leave the India, they were announced that the paramountcy of the British over the princely states were lapsed. It means that these Rajas and Nawabs are now free. They have a choice that they join India or Pakistan, or they want to remain independent. This was a big problem for us. Britishers gave the choices this princely state, and this is the main problem for us. And now we are facing till today. Some princely state like Hari Singh of Jammu and Kashmir and Nizam of Hyderabad and ruler of Junagadh, and similarly the Manipur Raja, they were not ready to come in India. They create some problem for us. So this was a big blunder. The Britishers were announced the freedom of these Rajas and Nawabs, and the paramountcy is ended. So they have a choice to remain independent or join our Pakistan. So some Raja and Nawabs were choosing the path to they were remain independent, like Raja Hari Singh, Nizam of Hyderabad have a same aspiration that they want to remain independent. But it was not possible because like Hyderabad is totally bounded by the Indian territory. So how it will remain independent, and peoples want to join India, but the Nizam of Hyderabad not want. So it was not technically possible that they remain independent. So now ultimately they will come with India. Okay class. So in this period we will discuss about the how these 565 princely states submerged India. Class, you know, Sardar Vallabhbhai Patel was doing a good job. He was a great personality. He was a brave man. He take the responsibility to join these princely state in India. He was using different diplomacy. Sometimes he was successful to convince the princely states, and sometimes he was giving some autonomy to princely state. Sometimes he created the fear for the rulers, and last option is the use of military. So Sardar Vallabhbhai Patel used all the tricks to convince the princely state to submerge in India class. India was got the independent on 15 August 1947. After this, the British India is divided into Pakistan and India. So British India is not a one country, but they have a two. It is India and Pakistan class. And this partition of India and Pakistan was based on the religious majority, because the two nation theory, which was advanced by the Muhammad Ali Jinnah. According to this theory, the British India is the country of not one but two type of the people. One is Hindu and the second is Muslim. That is why India is divided into two countries. British India is divided into two countries, India and Pakistan. And class, so many leaders who are in the Congress were opposed this division. Mahatma Gandhi was not ready, and Jawaharlal Nehru, many Congress leaders opposed this. And the well-known leader like Khan Abdul Ghaffar Khan, Maulana Abdul Kalam Azad, they were opposed this two nation theory. But the situation after the 1940 was changed, and so many incidents were happened during 1940s. Ki now the country have going to divide into two parts, India and Pakistan, on the religious majority class. We also discuss here what are the process of partition class. You know, the partition was happened on the basis of religious majority. And in class there is some problems ki like no clear area where the Muslim in majority class. And the second thing class ki first thing we are looking, there is no clear area in all over the British India where the Muslim in majority. So if we find a place in our British India, the one is in the west and one in the east. So these two areas where Muslim majority is going to become a Pakistan, Eastern Pakistan and Western Pakistan class. The second problem is class the area where Muslim in the majority, all the such areas not ready to come with the Pakistan, like northwest frontier region where the popular leader Khan Abdul Ghaffar Khan, he was an undisputed leader of Muslim community. But his voice was ignored. He was not ready for the partition. But it was enforced to join Pakistan class. So all the region was not ready to join with the Pakistan, but it was enforced, and the voice of Khan Abdul Ghaffar Khan was avoided, and north-western frontier region was going with the Pakistan. Plus, the third challenge is कि in the area in the East Pakistan and West Pakistan, in both area there are so many non-Muslims are also in the majority, like Hindus, Sikh were in the majority. So it was very difficult for us to how if the partition was happened, how they migrate from one part to another part of the country. And fourth is the minority of both the sides, because India and Pakistan both have a minority. Like in the Western Pakistan, Hindus are in the minority, and similarly in India, some Muslims are in the minority. So the problem of minority both the sides of border India and Pakistan have, and it was very bad for them because after the partition, communal riots spread all over the country, and these minorities were trapped, and they were told to leave the house, leave the home, because this area is going under the Pakistan or India. And after a short ultimatum, the peoples were saying that they left their countries in a very short notice class. So these are the four problems of partition. Because when the leaders were going for partition, they have no idea about how the people just migrate one part to another part of the country. Like the Hindus who are living in the Western Pakistan and Eastern Pakistan, how they come in India, and the Muslims who are living in India, how they come to the Pakistan. So there is no idea about this class. The next topic is consequences of partition class. India was got the independent in 15 August 1947. And after this, the two countries, India and Pakistan, was come into existence. And both the country have faced the migration. A large population was migrated from one part to another part country. Most of the Muslims were going from India to Pakistan, and most Hindu and Sikh were coming from Pakistan to India class. So this was a big transfer of population. Near about 80 lakhs people were going to transfer from one territory to another territory class. And India got the independence with the partition, and communal riots were start. Kolkata, Lahore and Delhi, Amritsar, these areas were converted as a communal zone class. Basically, Amritsar, Kolkata and Lahore, these three areas convert as a communal zone class. The Hindus and Sikhs were coming from the Western Pakistan. So in their path, violence was made by the Muslims against the Hindus and Sikh. And when the peoples were coming from Pakistan, basically Hindu and Sikh, their families were broken, women were abducted, and peoples on the both sides were enforced to leave the country within a short notice, and women were abducted on both sides of the border, both side of the country, and women were enforced to marry uh, in the abductors' family class. Children lost their parents, and the peoples who are living from thousands years in the land now, they were forced to leave the house and land because a new country was going to made class. And class during this communal violence, both Hindu and Sikh were avoid to going area of Muslim region, and similarly Muslims were also avoid to going in the Sikh and Hindus area class. So there was a very bad situation. Class. The happening is written by in short note stories, biographies, in movies, dramas. All the author and writer express their views of the partition. They were saying this partition is a partition of heart. Everything is divided between India and Pakistan. Railway departments, table, chair, all pinto, everything is going to divided. The staff, musical bands, everything is going to divide between India and Pakistan class. And near about 80 lakhs people were migrated during this partition, and 5 to 10 lakhs were killed in partition related violence class. Many people lost their family. Okay, many women murdered, raped by the Muslims in the Pakistan, and many women face the violence in the both the territory class. So after taking revenge in India, Muslims were also face the violence. Okay class. So after going the Muslims from India, the 12% of the Muslim of our population remain after going the Musliman. So can India automatically convert a Hindu nation? Not. Our political leader were very secular. They want India as a multicultural, multilinguistic, multi-religion country. So they clearly say that India is a secular country, and the Muslims who no want to leave this country, they remain in the country. So many Muslims remain their old houses. Okay, so after the partition and after the migration, 12% of Muslims were remain in our country. So our leaders were very secular, so they protect the minorities' right, like Muslim, Sikh, Isai, Jain, Buddhism, all are live in a country with a brotherhood of a class. Class. During the colonial period, there was a two type of the territory, British India and provincial state, which are under the direct control of the British colonial master, and the princely state, which are ruled by the Rajas and Nawab. So when Britishers were going, so they left the paramountcy of their rule. It means the Raja and Nawabs are now free. So it was a very difficult task because on that time 565 princely states are in our country. So this was a big problem ki how the government, how our Indian government convinced this 565 princely state in a country. And this challenging task was taken by the Sardar Vallabhbhai Patel class. Initially class, the ruler of Travancore, Nizam of Hyderabad and ruler of Bhopal were announced that they want to remain free. They wanted to remain free class. So this was a big challenge for us ki how we convince them. Our government was using different tricks to convince the different princely state. Our first deputy prime minister and home minister Sardar Vallabhbhai Patel was using different tricks to convince this. Our Sardar Vallabhbhai Patel give the concession to some states. Sometime he was most of the princely state easily ready to join India, and last time when the ruler were not ready, so Sardar Vallabhbhai Patel was using army class to merge with India class. Our Indian government was made the instruments of accession. All the princely states were going to sign for these instruments of accession, and after this legally they become the member of Union. Okay, class. They become the member of Indian Union after the signing of instruments of accession. This is a legal documents, and this paper is signed by each and every princely state. After the signing this instrument, princely state become the part of India class. But class, the four states like Hyderabad, Jammu and Kashmir, Junagadh and Manipur, these four states will create a problem, and Sardar Vallabhbhai Patel convinced most of the princely state till the independent. So how we merge these four princely states, we will learn next. Class, Hyderabad was ruled on that time by the Nizam. Nizam is the richest person of the world, and the Nizam was want to remain independent from India, and he was totally bound by the India, and it was not easy to remain free. So Indian government was signed a standstill agreement with the Nizam, and the Congress party and the Muslims and the peasants who are living in the Hyderabad, they were raising their voices for the atrocities of Nizam and their Rajakars. And after Indian army was liberate, the Nizam was surrender, and Hyderabad joined India.